Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Draftseal. This is their part number DS8500DOAK. So this is a certainly on the larger side of residential thresholds, and that's what this DS8500DOAK is. So the DS is Draftseal, the 8500 is representative of this profile. The D in the part number means that the exposed piece of aluminum is in a dark bronze finish, and obviously this is just a peel-away protective film that's covering the dark bronze. The OAK, means that it's a oak exposed edge, and it will have a real quick brush painted white on the inside, and then a softwood pine a softwood species of wood underneath that finished exposed oak portion. So let's take a look at the supporting documentation in the sense that there is a document here that will show us the overall size of the item. So according to the supporting documentation below, it tells us that we're 8.5 wide. A little bit of, yeah, okay. Let's just take a look at it. 8.5 inch wide. My tape measure is telling me right at 8.5. That's good. Now we're going to have an overall height at the leading edge. I believe this is going to be 1/2 inch over here. You can count on that being 1/2 inch. Up over here at the high end, you can see that we're going to be about 1 5/8 inches. The overall height of the oak end, about 1 1/8 inches. Down here where it's a bit smaller is closer to 1 inch. Of that 8.5 inch, looks like we are dealing with about 6.5 inch worth of, maybe 6 3/8 worth of aluminum. Now this area here is where you insert a piece of gasketing into. Gasketing is inherently not included with this at all, so be mindful of that. Now this is a 36 inch length. This item is not made available from Draftseal directly as a 36 inch length. This client happened to require 5 of these pieces, or 6, whatever the quantity was, and the manufacturer sells this in about 12-foot lengths. So what happened was, for the client to satisfy his requirement of 6 pieces at 3 foot long, the manufacturer sold 2, it's either 10 or 12-foot lengths. It's 12 foot, not 10 foot. 2 12-foot lengths, and then cut all of them to achieve the 36 inch length. Right, and this is 36 inch exact. So those 12-foot lengths must be a little bit long on 144 inch because they pulled 4 pieces out of this. At least that's my understanding. And the client paid for 2 12-foot lengths, the cut charge, basically for a total of 8 pieces, but they required 6. They had to have 6. They had to have this threshold, and the manufacturer was kind enough to, indulge the requirement for custom cutting, which is not in their catalog. But they will, in all instances that I'm aware of, they will accommodate. So that is something that I know that I'm grateful for when it comes to dealing with Draftseal. Let's switch to the screen view and take a look at some supporting documentation. Now, here is indeed the item that we are looking at. Not much to see here. The link below this video to the extended description will show you. There's another thing that's not included either, and I'll show that to you momentarily. DS8500DOAK, bronze anodized with oak cap. Okay, 8.5 inch, 6 3/8, etc. So the insert that would go here is not included, and any sort of gaskets that you would use on the end of this to close that off are inherently not included as well. You can order them, but be mindful that they need to be added as separate line items, and reach out to our sales department and we'll assist you with obtaining that material. Now there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Draftseal products that we sell by using this horizontal navigation here, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to both of their product catalogs, their residential and commercial book. The DS8500 is in the residential catalog, and we can take a look at that here. And as we pull up that residential catalog and do a search for DS8500, we'll find all of the matches of that DS8500. But there are more than just that one match we were looking at earlier. It does show up as different variants. So this is going to be a PVC cap version. Here's our original version in the full 52-page catalog. Be mindful that if you change the D to an A, you'll get a clear anodized aluminum finish out here. I'm tempted to say that that's not clear anodized and it's actually mill finish, but they're calling it clear anodized, so that's what it is. Other gaskets. Okay, we can buy the gaskets separately, and shows how they're used as seen here. Where would you want the gasket? Well, most definitely you would want the gasket if you were not running that threshold all the way in the depth of the frame, where the frame itself was deep enough to cover all of the ends of the threshold. And what I'm driving at here is, you know, if you have a let's see here now. Okay, here's your frame. Your door will swing in. You know, if your threshold is literally going to be running out long, well, actually, your threshold would go all the way down, and then you take the stop, and that's cut at an angle, or however you would do that, so that it sits on top of the threshold. Well, what I mean is your stop would be. Your jam would not be. Your jam would run long, and your stop would be cut. So if you're going to have an exposed edge here, you're going to need that gasket. You know, but if your frame is deep enough to where that frame for that threshold is basically going to sit in here, okay, then you don't have too much to worry about, meaning that this jam depth is going to be at least 8 3/8, or pardon me, 8 1/2, I believe is what we said. So you are very likely going to want the gasket, would be my guess. This client opted for the thresholds only, and then of course, if you have a mullion or a jam for side lights, they're going to give you that DS7501S gasket here. So very handy document to be able to review not only this item, but as you can see as I scroll through, there is an enormous quantity of quite unique residential thresholds. And here is an opportunity where we can take a look at what an inserted piece of weather stripping would look like. Okay. We get to the back of the catalog, and we're going to be able to see, I believe, our weather stripping, our curved-in style weather stripping. Right? It's where you can pick up those part numbers separately, based on your application. Variations of that material as well. Now, the commercial catalog is, pardon me, the commercial catalog is indeed exactly what it sounds like. Weather stripping that's going to be appropriate for commercial applications. And it's a very handy document. If you're looking for threshold options that you do not see in your normal course of business, you might look at the Draftseal catalog, because they do have some solutions and approaches to solutions that are quite unique to them. Thermal barrier, thermal break thresholds are here, which isn't unique to them at all, you know, by any means, but they do have thermal break, as we can see, this unusual ramp threshold. You know, very wide thresholds as well, in saddle type, that are thermal break. So it would be, I think, if not to review these catalogs, at least bookmark them so that you are able to locate them again. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, a few things to know about Draftseal. They are located in Canada, I believe in the general Vancouver area, somewhere out on the west coast. So at the time of this video, all orders that you would place to Draftseal through us would go on our stock order. We send that stock order once a week or thereabouts up to them, and then they ship it to our location. At that point, we then ship it out to you. The reason we do that is because you might order a threshold, probably not this, but you might order something that's, a piece of their, Curved-in style weather stripping, and that material total might be $30. Well, an international shipment coming from Canada to your location is going to be substantially more than the cost of the material itself. So we remit those stock orders, and the material comes to us, and then we're able to ship it to you, albeit with a longer lead time, but with a shipping charge that is more in alignment with what you would generally expect to pay for weather stripping, which means the lead times again are longer, but we will certainly accommodate that, accommodate the orders with that one caveat. Very accommodating folks over at Draftseal. We've had them cut pieces like this in half or whatever the case is to help a client reduce that shipping charge because of the length, number one, and then where they're located, number two. And I hope to be able to continue to build on our volume of work with Draftseal because they're, as I had said earlier, a very accommodating group of folks. Any questions on the Draftseal? This is their DS8500DOAK. I don't know what the marketing term clone stands for. They call this a Klone Inswing. We obviously can tell what Inswing means, but this might be a marketing name for the brand of the threshold. If you are looking for an unusual residential or possibly commercial solution for weather stripping, take a look at Draftseal. Thank you very much.